I'm joined now by Israeli-American Hillel Fuld, who joins us from Tel Aviv. I don't know how much you saw of President Trump there, Hillel, but it was quite the performance, and he is claiming that the mission on Saturday was a raging success and that Iran is now decades away from being able to develop any sort of a nuclear weapon. That's got to be good news for the world, doesn't it?
Of course. I mean, the ridiculous talk by CNN and other mainstream media that it was only set back a few months is ridiculous. First of all, they have no nuclear facilities to develop the bomb. They have no nuclear scientists to build the bomb, let alone the uranium. So, of course, they'll do anything to remain relevant. You know, I'm not as extreme as President Trump calling them names, but they are irrelevant and their traffic reflects that. And so they'll do anything to make Trump look bad, to make the only Jewish state look bad. And for them, they know it sells. It gets clicks, and that's all they're interested in.
We see there the way that the mainstream US media, who are mainly Trump haters, are reporting this. How is the Israeli media reporting what the likely outcome of the mission was on those facilities?
Listen, we had clear objectives to this war, that there's no questions here, you know, in terms of subjectivity. We had objectives, you know, that we defined, and we achieved all of them. So, you know, the talk about Israel didn't win is silly and ridiculous, but this is the nature of our enemies. I mean, Yom Kippur War, they didn't concede that they lost either. None of the wars that we won did our enemies admit that they lost. So it concerns the Israeli people less. We know what we did. We know that we removed Iran as an existential threat to the state of Israel. Their ballistic missiles are destroyed. Their nuclear plant is destroyed. They're gone. The regime is hanging on by a thread. The rest of it is just propaganda. The fact of the matter is, we accomplished our mission.
This time last night in Australia, the ceasefire was looking like it might fall over. There was attacks and counterattacks from Israel and Iran. Iran put that ballistic missile into Beersheba, and Israel quite rightly then responded. Donald Trump on Air Force One on the way to NATO said, look, I've rung Benjamin Netanyahu. I've told him that we've got to back off. Let's make this ceasefire work. And Netanyahu actually, according to Trump, called back some fighter jets and said, let's just hold. Are you confident this ceasefire can hold?
You have to remember who we're dealing with here. I mean, they already broke the ceasefire multiple times. Last night, they fired 2 drones into Israel. So we're dealing with an enemy, you know, an Iranian evil regime that will never admit defeat. They just don't understand the concept of surrender. And again, it's much like the rest of the radical Islamic world. So, you know, I don't know what drives them. Obviously, we know their philosophy, their ideology is to kill as many Jews as possible. To tell you that they're stupid enough to restart this war knowing the destruction that Israel brought upon them, it's hard for me to believe they would do that. Israel destroyed, you know, their commanding officers at the highest levels. We just announced that we killed 29 brigade commanders, officers, which is astounding. What Israel did in this war is going to go down in history books and will be quoted by military strategists for decades into the future. It is an astounding victory. And it's important to mention, you know, we fought the last war, the 6-day war in June, and now we fought the 12-day war in June. And both of these wars were astounding success and victory for the state of Israel. And that's something the Israeli people are very proud of. Again, the propaganda machine in Iran, it's gotten to the point that it's comical, but I ignore it. It's not easy to ignore because they lie to their people, but there's no way that anybody could look at the outcome of this war and say that Israel did not accomplish a definitive victory.
Yeah, they were an extraordinary scenes at the weekend when the US went in. You're a dual US-Israeli citizen. How does the average Israeli citizen feel about what was achieved by Israel in the first instance? And we mentioned last night that Israel went in there with fighter jets and softened up the ground for the Americans to make that ultimate mission attack. I mean, how do you feel that your fellow Israelis are feeling about what's been achieved so far?
Interestingly, we have unity. We haven't had this level of unity in a long time because no one debates or denies the incredible success that Netanyahu had in this war. And so, again, a month ago, half this country was, you know, against Netanyahu. Now everyone stands with him, even the opposition. So I guess we have Iran to thank for that because we are unified once again.
We've just seen live pictures there of the NATO group posing for the cameras, pretty much. So that would appear to be the end of that gathering. So, what is a ceasefire going forward look like? I mean, how does it work? I mean, as you said, and I was talking last night to Sean Spicer, who was, of course, Trump's press secretary first time round. He said he wouldn't trust Iran as far as he could throw them. I mean, how does a ceasefire get sold to the people of Israel, given what you've been through?
Listen, it's not easy. Of course, many people want to see the regime fall completely. But I think if we're going to compare it to something, maybe it's comparable to what happened with Hezbollah in Lebanon. You know, the Iranian supreme leader asked them to join this last round. And of course, they denied that and they rejected his offer because they understand what Israel did to them. And so right now we have a ceasefire with Hezbollah. And anytime they try to break that ceasefire, they're immediately attacked and punished for that. So I think that's the way we're going to see this ceasefire play out. I think that Iran will probably play with fire. They already have. Again, they've shot 2 drones and 1 ballistic missile after the ceasefire came into effect. They're testing us. And soon our patience will wear out. Right now, Trump is asking us to hold back, and that's what we're doing. But if they keep playing with fire, they know what's going to happen, and they won't do it because they understand the destruction that was brought upon their country.
Hillel, just before you go, the Albanese government, as we know, cancelled your visa. You were due to make a speech here in Australia. They said it was due to concerns that you'd make inflammatory statements saying you'd be a risk to the health, safety or good order of the country. I know some American contacts of yours tried to step in and stop that, Mike Huckabee. How are you feeling after that cancellation of the visa? What's your feelings today about that?
You can't make this stuff up. I'm just a random guy writing my thoughts on the internet. I'm obviously very careful not to post things that are inflammatory or, God forbid, Islamophobic or racist in any way. And this was just a poor excuse to ban someone with strong pro-Israel opinions. The tweets that they quoted in their document that they sent me when they revoked my visa were absolutely ridiculous. They literally removed words from my tweets. For example, they quoted me saying that Islam is a global cancer. When you go look at the actual post that I wrote radical Islam is a global cancer, but so conveniently they deleted that word. They quoted a tweet of mine saying that there was no massacre in the humanitarian zone, something that we now know is true and was confirmed. And all of the reporters who reported that quote unquote massacre redacted and retracted their statement. So the whole thing is one kind of bogus show to try to remove my voice. Of course, they were unsuccessful at that, given that I gave the talk and the amount of money that we raised far surpassed what we would have raised had I come there. And of course, this war broke out, so I'd be stuck there. So all in all, I think everyone won. And the big loser here is the Australian government.
Hillel Fuld, thank you very much for joining us in Tel Aviv.